Hi guys, hi. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to today's video. Today is a different day from my last video, the day after. And yeah, anyways, welcome to today's video. Let us speak about my first day as a candidate attorney. Let's take it back to 2020. Okay, so date 3 February 2020. My hair was a bit shorter. I just cut it a month before. I cut my hair. Like, I had hair, maybe it was this long, but I didn't like how it looked, so I cut my hair to maybe this length. I was wearing this shirt and this skirt. I'll insert a picture of this outfit, or it will be on, yeah, it will be my thumbnail. I wore this outfit. I don't have a picture that I took on that day because I really took really bad pictures because I took them outside and I was rushing. I thought I was late when I was 2 hours early. Yeah, first things first, I went to work at 6. I used to start work at 8. I still start work at 8, eh? I start work at 8, but I left home, get taxi at 6. Not leave, maybe get to Potchefstroom at 7 or leave home at 7 as I did in my last year, of which I was still always in time. Like, I lived like 35 minutes away, 35 minutes drive away from Potchefstroom. So if I left at 7, I would still get to work 15 minutes early, but I left work at 6 simply because my neighbor works for a law firm, one of those firms in Potchefstroom, one of the big ones actually. She leaves for work at 6. So I asked her how do taxis work for Potchefstroom, and she was like, 6 is actually fine for me because I get to work at 7, get some time to rest, and yeah. Well, her office is open very early. I was used to open at 8 exactly, or just before 8. So if you're early, you'll have to wait. I didn't know. I knew that because this is what happened. Get to Hamburger with this lady, sis new. Take the taxi, get in, get to work. We actually got to Potchefstroom before 7. We got there at 7:45. That's how early. I mean, not 7:45, 7:45. That's how early it was, because I remember Spa was not open, because I was like, okay, I'll just chill by Spa because I'm really early. Get there, still very early, because I was confused, like, what's my start time? I did ask on that Friday. I called in and asked, okay, when am I expected to get to work? And they're like, no, we started work at 8, but get there before 8, obviously. So yeah, I was very nervous. I can't remember the feeling, but I don't think I slept at night. I know myself, like, I know how I felt. I was probably waking up every hour. So probably that's how I slept. Then get to work, well, get there, wait until I left. I then left Spa at like 7:35, I think, then walked up because it was like a 5-minute walk from Spa to the office. I walked up, got there, waited because I was still early. Great impression. Like, punctual, because I am punctual. Like, one thing about me, even now I get to work at 20 to 8. I start work at 8. I don't have to be there anytime before 8, but I get there before 8. Sometimes even before 7:30, because I just like being on time. It's one of the things I like to actually do. And I get anxious if I'm not in time early. Like, I spoke about the spirit of anxiety and how I want to get rid of it. I don't know how, but I don't think I like it being in my life, but it's there. Anyways, back to getting to work. Get to work. Principal advises me that she will be in court. She'll be in court that day. Gave me tasks, and she asked me to draft simple summons. I've never drafted that in varsity. Didn't know how, didn't ask, was asked to draft simple summons. I was like, I'm going to draft simple summons. I drafted nonsense. I don't know what did I draft. It was not simple summons. The most simple thing you could draft, I didn't draft. What did we draft in varsity as an assignment? But it was actually in my notes, because thereafter, when I realized it was a wrong thing, when we were reviewing the document with my principal, went to my notes, a civil, and I found the document. But it was one of the things that were self-study, because they said will be taught in practice or will be taught at PLT. Like most drafting, we had a drafting test and we had to draft a default judgment. That's all we had to draft. And we also had, that's all we actually had to draft. It was a confusing question where you wondered, are we drafting a default judgment or are we drafting a summary judgment? That's all was in our drafting test for civil procedure. So at that time, I had never drafted a simple summons, ever. By the end of my articles, I had drafted many simple summons. I drafted many combined summons, so don't worry, I know how to draft summons now. Yeah. Anyways, that's my first day. I drafted umsangano, but then by the time I left, I finalized the matter. I remember, I can't say the citation, obviously, but I remember the case. It was one of the finalized matters that were finalized. So I've started matters and completed them in my time in practice, which always felt good. It felt good to complete that matter. So yeah. How did I feel? I did write notes of what I want to speak. How did I feel? I felt nervous. I felt so grateful. I bought a video of it's currently peak hour, so that's why it's loud. I felt like and it was indeed my first professional job. And that day was just different. I didn't know how to feel. I had lunch, but I couldn't eat it because I was just nervous the whole day. Like, I nibbled on my lunch. I carried it, but I just nibbled on it. Because I was just nervous. I didn't know how to act. How do you act in an office? Never really worked in an office, a proper office. Like when I worked office in being my uncle's office, like I could do anything. It's home. Like, you know, when you get to an office and you're like, so I could sit in any chair. I didn't know how to act professionally. I didn't have that background experience, so I didn't know how to act. Worked before, I worked as a maid, so again, no experience of how do you act in an office. But I looked nice. And I wore heels that were too high. They were really high. And yeah, that's what I can say about my shoes. But the outfit is this outfit that I'm wearing right now. And yeah, question, how I performed. I drafted wrong papers. I drafted really bad simple summons. That's how I performed. What I have learned so far. One takeaway, I always actually cite this particular incident in interviews, because it was one of the learning curves of one of my weaknesses, or one of my, should I say, shortage of character or flaw in character, of not asking for help, not asking questions. And that's what I got that day. I didn't ask questions in our paralegal, our great secretary and office manager, who knew everything about drafting. Like, she had been there at that time for 7 or 8 years, I can't remember. But she had been there since the office started, so she knew everything about drafting. But I just didn't know how to ask for help. So I didn't even ask colleagues on my phone, how do you draft this? Because, one of the things that I like doing things on my own. It's a bad characteristic. It's one of the things that come with trauma that comes with neglect. I understood that in therapy when I first started it long ago, before this session that I told you guys about. But it's one of the traits that I inherited from childhood trauma of neglect. I get things done by myself, and it's a bad thing to have when you are in corporate. It's a bad thing to have when you are in practice, especially practice of law is made from relationships. You need somebody who's able to draft a certain thing. You need somebody who's a specialist in this. You need a specialist conveyancer. You need all of these things to be part of your circle. You need an advocate sometimes. You need a senior to appear in high court. Like you need people in this profession, and that's one takeaway that I got from there. And I always cited, like, one thing that I learned from that mistake was I need to ask for help, and I need to keep my cycle very, very, not small, but be able to pull up a phone and call somebody, because by the end of articles, I could call Ubuhle, I could call anybody that I knew. Would say, hey, what's up, dude? How do you do this? Oh, I'm faced with this matter. What do you think? I was able to do that. I'm able to do that. And it's one of the best things you could do for your career. And it's one of the things that I wish each and every person who's starting articles, who's starting a different career, who's starting in corporate or wherever you are, to use this as a learning point for them. Would he ask for help? Ask questions. Like if you are approached by your principal, Ati, please draft this. Maybe please draft a section, a Rule 60 or a Rule Nisi or whatever it is that they say draft. You've never seen it before. Ask them, Wuti, what is that? If they are not willing to help you, Mina, I had a principal who helped me. When it came to Ugbuza, and she always knew it's because I really do not understand a thing, or I've already done my research. So that's one thing you should have, especially if you are somebody who's afraid to ask questions. Always do your investigation first, do your research, whatever it is that you call it. Do it and come with questions that you can't ask, okay, I've never seen Ugut, what is that? Because even in my simple summons, I think, well, she asked me, what do I understand about summons? I told her they initiate e-action or an application, or an e-action. I advised her, she asked me, what is that? And I told her, this is what I understand about them. And then I also told her, I understand that there are two types. Because I had already noticed already seen my mistake when I submitted the papers to her. I actually drafted combined summons. Or did I draft a notice of motion? I can't remember. I'm trying to remember the picture of that thing that I drafted. But it was either I drafted combined summons or notice of motion. I can't remember what I drafted, but it was not, what I know, it was not simple summons. Anyway, so then the only thing that she needed to tell me was, Uguti, okay, yes, it's summons, but now you're going to have to include your whole claim in these summons because you don't have particulars of claiming this, because something that already has a fixed damage. About though, go search why do you do simple summons and why do you do combined summons? So I already knew that. She just needed to remind me, okay, this is what it is. And if I came blank, obviously it's very difficult to teach somebody who doesn't do the proper research, who doesn't want to learn. And one thing that I want you guys to have as you are going into practice, if you're just starting out your articles, because I know a lot of people that watch my content are people that are in varsity, going to do their first years, or people that are in just doing PLT, about to start their articles. Go there with a spirit of wanting to learn, wanting to ask questions, and wanting to be ready to be taught, because you are there. It's training, it's practical legal training. You are there, vocational, but it's training, whatever it's called. You are there to be taught. I was lutho basically, but you are there to learn. You just know ilo because you got the paper, obviously. But you are there to be taught. So be ready to ask questions. Be ready to learn everything that there is to learn. So that's what I learned in that lesson. And that's my advice to you. Be ready to learn. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope that you will learn a thing from my lesson of Uguti. Asking questions is very important. Seeking clarity is very important. And I hope that you walk around seeking clarity if you are unclear about things, so that you don't waste your time and waste a day in a matter or half a day in a matter drafting into engasiyona, writing in what engasiyona, whatever it is. Ask and you will be ready. There is enough information, there is enough people to answer you. Anyways, this is going to be too long. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I will see you on my next video and enjoy the rest of your week.